Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a real clash of titans, a head-to-head comparison between two of NVIDIA's heavy hitters that are probably on your radar for an AI workstation, the GeForce RTX 5080 and the 4070 Ti Super.
So if you're deep in the AI space, whether you're a professional practitioner or just a really serious enthusiast, you're probably wrestling with this exact question. It's that classic fork in the road, right? Do you go with the proven top-tier card from the last generation, or do you take that leap of faith into a totally new architecture? And that's exactly what we've got here. In one corner, you have the RTX 4070 Ti Super, a true titan from the Ada Lovelace era that we know and trust. And in the other corner, the brand new challenger, the RTX 5080, built on the much-hyped Blackwell architecture, which, by the way, was designed from the ground up for generative AI. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll talk about this new AI crossroads we find ourselves at. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the architectures, Ada versus Blackwell. After that, we'll look at the specs, a comparison by the numbers. Then we'll cover power and practicality before giving our final verdict for AI workloads.
This really isn't just about a simple spec bump. It's not a linear upgrade. No, choosing between these two GPUs is really about choosing between two completely different design philosophies for how to tackle modern AI.
So let's get right to the heart of it. We need to talk about the huge architectural shift from Ada Lovelace to Blackwell, because that's what really defines what these GPUs are capable of. The Ada Lovelace architecture, the brains behind the 4070 Ti Super, was a massive leap forward. It was a major refinement that was all about boosting performance, while at the same time making huge gains in power efficiency. But Blackwell, well, that's a different beast entirely. As NVIDIA themselves said, this architecture was purpose-built from day one for the new era of generative AI. So it's not just an evolution, it's a specialization. Now, it's really important to remember just how capable Ada still is. Its 4th-gen tensor cores and that original Hopper FPA transformer engine made it an absolute powerhouse for a huge range of AI models. This is a mature, well-understood, and incredibly effective platform.
Okay, now let's look at what's new with Blackwell. We've got 5th-gen tensor cores, sure, but the real star of the show is that 2nd-generation transformer engine. It's specifically designed to speed up large language models by using new, super-efficient data formats like FP4. What that means is it can crunch AI calculations with less precision when it can get away with it, which dramatically speeds everything up and saves a ton of memory.
All right, enough with the philosophies. Let's look at the specs and see exactly how these architectural differences translate into cold, hard numbers. So right off the bat, you can see the 5080 as a pretty big advantage, with over 10,000 CUDA cores. For AI, it's simple. More cores means more raw parallel processing power, and that translates directly to faster training times and quicker inference. But the really crucial difference here isn't just about the generation number. No, it's that the 5th-gen tensor cores, working together with that new transformer engine and its support for FP4, are just hyper-optimized for the specific kind of math that powers modern LLMs. The result is just way higher efficiency and throughput. Okay, before we get to memory specs, let's talk about bandwidth for a second. See, you could have the fastest processor in the entire world, but if you can't feed it data fast enough, it just doesn't matter. That's bandwidth. Think of it like the width of the highway for your data. And that brings us to the next massive upgrade, the memory. The RTX 5080 uses GDDR7. Now, even though it has the same 16 gigs of VRAM as the 4070 Ti Super, this new memory type creates a much wider and faster data highway. And for data-hungry AI tasks, that is a huge deal. But all that next-gen power definitely comes at a cost. The RTX 5080 has a total graphics power, or TDP, of 360 watts. That's a pretty noticeable jump from the 285 watts of the 4070 Ti Super. And that's a critical factor not just for your cooling solution, but for your electricity bill too. Here's a quick side-by-side summary for you. You can really see the 5080's lead in core counts and memory tech, but then you also see the 4070 Ti Super's clear advantage in power efficiency. Feel free to pause here if you want to take a closer look at the numbers. So let's move on and talk about how all this plays out in the real world. How do these numbers on a spec sheet actually translate into practical performance for the things you really do with these cards?
Let's take something like generating images with stable diffusion. The 5080's amazing memory bandwidth lets it feed data to its thousands of cores way faster. And the direct result of that? A really noticeable drop in the time it takes to generate those high-res images.
But here's the other side of that coin. If your work involves sustained training runs, stuff that lasts for hours or even days, or if you're building out a multi-GPU rig, then the 4070 Ti Super's lower power draw becomes a massive advantage. It delivers better performance per watt, which means lower operating costs over the long haul.
So, after weighing the architectures, the specs, and all those practical considerations, which GPU should you actually choose for your AI projects?
Well, it really just comes down to this. The RTX 5080 is for people who absolutely need maximum throughput. If you're pushing the bleeding edge of what local AI can do, or you need the absolute fastest inference speeds possible, then Blackwell is your answer. The RTX 4070 Ti Super, on the other hand, is that proven, power-efficient workhorse. It's a fantastic choice for developers who need a robust, capable, and more cost-effective platform for a massive range of AI tasks.
We've really only scratched the surface here today. There's so much more data to dig into, from encoder performance to a much deeper dive on those transformer engines.
So for the complete, super detailed analysis that this whole explainer is based on, you can head over to bestgpusforai.com. We've put the link for you right in the description below.
So we'll leave you with this thought. As AI hardware keeps advancing at this absolutely incredible pace, the choice isn't just about which card is better. It's about deciding what matters more for the future that you're trying to build. Is it raw, unbridled power, or is it smart, sustainable efficiency? What are you going to prioritize? Thanks for joining us.